Hi, it's Greg Otten here with MaritimeGardening.com, and today I'm going to talk about when to harvest your garlic. Stay with me. So it's early August, and my garlic appear to be ready to harvest. I'm not going to harvest them all at once. I'm going to harvest them at the end of August, but they're ready to be pulled now. I just leave them in the ground a little bit longer. You don't want to leave them too long, because they'll start to split and they'll start to grow. The actual bulbs will break up and start to grow again, which you don't want. So I've got garlic all over the place in my garden. I like to just sort of jam them in everywhere. And you can see there's some in this garden right here. And you can see if we look closely, the tips are starting to turn color like this. Right? The whole plant hasn't flopped over. Once the plant flops over, then you have to harvest them, right? There's still some energy in this stalk, right? So there's still, I would say there's still energy going to the bulb. So the bulb can still get a bit bigger, in my opinion. I'm sure different people disagree, but if this is green and it's strong, then it still has energy. And the whole point of the energy here, because I've snipped the flower off, is to make that bulb as strong as it can be to survive the winter and come back in the spring. So I like to leave these until these stalks have died, and then as soon as they look really, brown, blonde colored, then they got to come out, because if you leave it too long, good God, there's a hummingbird right there. See him? Huh. Scared the life. I almost jumped out of my skin because he almost hit me in the head. And that's the sort of stuff you want to see in your garden, right? I got lots of beans going on right now. A lot of flowers in the garden, just different things are flowering, so hummingbirds are loving it. And I've stopped feeding them. There was some notice on the news saying don't feed hummingbirds this year because they've got some disease and they can pass it to each other, so you got to lay off the hummingbird feeders this year. But anyway, I seem to be happy with my flowers, so that's great. Glad to help out. Where was I? So yeah, I leave these until they're light, they look dead. So when the whole plant starts looking this color, that's when they have to come out. And if you leave it too long, it's difficult. And too long means when you pull on the stalk, it breaks off and the bulb doesn't come with it. All right. But anyway, once you get this, the tips start looking like this, you can start harvesting them. If you've got, I'm just not harvesting them all because I've got a lot of them and I want to leave them in as long as I can. But I don't want to buy garlic right now, so I'm starting to pull them. But which ones do you pull? My thought on the matter is, like, look at this row here. I've got a number of garlic of different sizes, and some of them are very wide at the base. This one's about the width of my ring finger. No, almost the width of my thumb at the base, right? And then this one over here is half the width of my thumb. Okay, so what I like to do is I take all the lousy looking ones. This one's not going to get any bigger. Just that's, at this stage of the game in August, that's, they're really not going to grow anymore. They're just the stalk's about as big as it's going to be, and stalks are a really good indication of what kind of bulb you have down under the ground. So I take out all the sort of pathetic looking ones, and those are the ones I use in my cooking. Right, that's not much of a garlic at all. Right, there's my thumb, not very big. Right, if we contrast that with this one here, right, so this one's good size, and I'll pull this out just for demonstration purposes. Let's see if I can get that guy out. So that's a little more respectable, right? That's a good, I'd say a good 3 inches in diameter, right? Anyway, these are the ones I normally like to leave on the ground. I've got plenty of them, but I leave all the biggest ones until about the end of August. And then I pull them and I let them dry. And the biggest ones are the ones I use to replant in late October. The bigger the bulb, the bigger the garlic, right? So I just keep selecting for that quality. The bigger the clove, and once you split these up, these are going to have big cloves. Big cloves make big garlic. Just healthier, stronger, more energy, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff, right? So I leave the big ones aside. So when I look at a row like this, I'd pull the skinnier ones and I leave the big ones. And how many do you put aside? Well, that depends on how much garlic you want, right? If you want a lot of garlic, you're going to have to put a lot of them aside. As a general rule, for me, you get about 5 cloves per head of garlic. So it depends on how fast you want to grow your garlic crop, right? If you eat half of them and put half of them aside, you're going to get a lot more the following year. But you gotta, however many garlic you have to save at least 1 clove to maintain that amount. You gotta save 2 cloves per garlic if you want to grow the amount of garlic you have. And if you eat a lot of garlic, my God, I eat almost a head of garlic. My family, we go through almost a head of garlic a day. And that doesn't slow down any time of the year. So I need a lot of garlic, and I don't want to buy it. And the stuff I'm growing is better quality than the stuff I buy. You know, the cheap garlic comes from China. It's about this size typically, right? But who knows what conditions it's grown under. This is perfect organic garlic, and to buy an organic garlic that's this size in a store is like it's like $3.99 a garlic, right? Whereas this cost me basically nothing. I bought the seed garlic were, I don't know what they were, $1 each, and I keep saving them every year and planting more out every year and getting more and more and more garlic. And I have the ultimate goal to not have to buy garlic again for the rest of my life. I'm not there yet. I ran out of garlic in February last year, and so I had to buy garlic between March and late May when my garlic started producing garlic scapes. So this year hopefully I can get even further into the game. So you see over here I got some garlic. They're turning brown like this, right? These garlic turning brown. All the garlic in my garden are ready to be harvested, right? Just as another example, I got 3 garlic here. This one's skinny, relatively skinny relative to my thumb. Any stalk that's the width of my thumb is a keeper, right? That's a nice big fat stalk. It's almost as wide as my thumb. So of these 3, there's 3 garlic here. This one, and this guy over here. And of these 3, this guy's the champion. So I wouldn't eat this guy. I'd save him for seeds. I'd eat these 2 other guys because this is a smaller one and this is a medium one, I would say. Let's pull this smaller guy and see what he looks like. Yeah, that's a small one. And that's at least 2.5 inches wide. That's not bad. So imagine how much, see how much wider the stalk is on oops, come on now, work with me. This one here has a much wider stalk than this one. So this guy's going to be bigger by that order, right? This one's going to be probably 1/2 inch or 1 inch wider in diameter. So it's going to be one heck of a seed stock for next year's crop, right? Anyway, that's a good haul for today. It's enough garlic to get me through the week. Also, just another general note on harvesting garlic. It's actually more convenient to harvest them a number of days before you plan to eat them. If I take any of these garlic that I just pulled today and try to peel the clove out of its little wrapper, the wrapper doesn't really like to come away from the clove when it's fresh. So you cut this off here and cut these roots off and dry it off. Another way, an easy way to clean these is if you just peel this. I mean, people that have been growing garlic for years don't need this advice from me. This is more for the beginner. But instead of washing this with a hose and everything, you just take this outer skin and just peel it away gingerly. And you'll get most of that stuff off just like that. Then you just use your garden knife to cut the root off, and then you're going inside with a nice dry garlic. And also by getting that extra bit of skin off, it'll dry that much faster. So you cut it off here, and you cut these roots off, and just throw it in, put it on your counter in a bowl or something like that. Leave it for a couple days and let it crack and get dry a bit. And you'll notice that when I don't know how other people peel the garlic. I don't use a garlic peeler or anything like that. I just put it on a cutting board, put a 8-inch chef's knife on the side, slam it, and then usually the peel just pops right off if the garlic's dry. But when it's fresh and wet like this, I mean, it's not unpeelable. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's just a lot easier when they've dried out a little bit. Anyway, just a quick little video on garlic. The approach I use to growing it, harvesting it, saving the garlic for the next year, how I make those kinds of choices and so on. I hope that was useful for you. If you enjoy this content, subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, check out the podcast, maritimegardening.com. And until next time, get out there,